Hello and welcome to the Joy Fantasy Football Show. Of course, a happy new year to you. And we are in 2019 and a very, very big year in terms of Fantasy Premier League and your ambitions and all that. And today's show is going to be tied within that. It's a new year, you set your new year resolutions and all that. But in terms of FPL, what are the plans that you can be taking? And, you have these chips, your free hits. You have a new wild card in the second round, and you may have your triple captain. Now, my FPL experts would be sharing with you what is the ideal time to use some of these free hit cards and your wild card and your triple captain, and also some little strategy that you should bear in mind in the second round of your Fantasy Premier League competition or wherever you find yourself to help you finish stronger, especially in your mini leagues or if you're still in the FPL Cup. We are back after this. Welcome back, and I'm Owuraku Ampofo, and I'm not here alone. I'm joined by Kojo, Heme, Amankwa, and of course, Jumo. How are you guys?
Yeah, doing well, bro.
Well, a happy new year to you guys.
Yeah,
hopefully, I know you guys have some resolutions, especially in Fantasy Premier League. Yeah. And do you have any wishes or what do you expect?
Well, FPL Cup.
FPL Cup team. He still wants to go far in the Cup. Remember, I'll be bringing you personal updates, even if he's not on the show. So in case he gets knocked out, we would all be drinking some beer. Oh, I'm just kidding. We are supporting our brother who is taking the Cup personal. Now, you are not taking the Cup personal. You're in your mini leagues. Do you have any resolution in terms of that?
The year is 2019, so I want to get more than 2019 points.
2019 points. That's big. That's big. And I think last time I checked, he was far from that. But hopefully, anything can happen. He still has a lot of his chips left. But let's go into a little bit of a strategy. And I start with you, Kojo. Now, with Fantasy Premier League, what we do notice is that there's a lot of energy in the first 6 months, and especially the first round of games. But getting to the dying moments when there's a lot of distractions in terms of Champions League, FA Cup, you have your League Cup, and all these competitions going on, how do you survive this period and keep that same energy and focus on concentration?
So the key is to know when to use what chip and how to use it. Because the second half of the season is the most important half of the season, because that's when you see a lot of players that have from game week 20, they'll maintain their form up to game week 38. You see a lot of streaks, long and short. You see one week wonders. You see a lot of things in the second half of the season. And it's key to continue your climb up your mini league. It's key to know when to use your chips such as your wild card, your free hits, because there will be things like double game weeks, triple game weeks, or blank game weeks where the players in your team don't play at all.
Take us through the blank game weeks, and we did experience that slightly last season where there were some FA Cup fixtures and just about 6 Premier League clubs were involved. And they went ahead and they called that a game week. So what happened is that if you had no player in these teams, you would be hit really, really hard. I remember having a friend who ended up scoring 3 points on the day, and his captain gave him 2. So you can imagine how empty his team was. But in such a scenario, that means that you should always keep your free hit card or your wild card just around the corner and shouldn't rush into this, right?
Exactly. And you also have to keep an eye out for the cups, especially the League Cup and the FA Cup, because the scheduling clashes between the two is what causes a blank game week. Yeah. So maybe if your FA Cup game is scheduled for Saturday and your opponent is not playing but you are playing, that means your opponents can play in the league, but you can't play in the league, which leaves your team blank and their team with the game week. Yeah. So you have to keep an eye out for the scheduling conflicts, and you have to keep an eye out for the teams that play on the blank game week, because there are a lot of bargains there. Because usually, as you see, the top 6 usually gets further in the cup than the middle table teams and the relegation teams. But you have to keep an eye out for those below them, because you realize that sometimes there are very good fixtures in there. Well, I remember last season in one of these blank game weeks, West Ham had a very good fixture and they scored a lot of goals, and I had an out of it, so I benefited a lot.
Yeah, so no need to rush and get rid of your chips especially with the second round. And what we did pick up from that is the fact that I think you need more research in the second round because there would be a lot of games from different cups, and that would result in not just blank game weeks, but we also have a lot of rotation and injuries. So you may have to research not just up to next week, but probably 2 game weeks ahead to know your plan for that. Now, let me come to you, Enoch. And there's this euphoria that when you certainly get your wild card, you just think you need to use it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's probably because of the anticipation that builds up from what? A long period without using your wild card, and having a long wish list of players that you want to buy.
Yeah.
So once you grab your hand on that wild card, you just want to use it. But when do you think is the best period, especially considering that you get a new one in the second round? And when do you think is the best time to use this wild card?
So the best time actually to use this wild card is when you notice that most of your players are injured. I think injury is the main reason why you should use your wild card. So what happens is that there's going to be a lot of rotation, and then managers are also looking to get the best from their players. So what happens is that there are going to be players who are now coming to come in form, players who were less involved, and players that you least expected to be performing. So now you want to get, because FPL, like I said, is always about the points. So you want to get these players in, get the points you need. So this is the time to actually use the wild card. The rotations, when players pick form and you want to get them in. And then you want to use the wild card because you don't want to make the -12s. Because this is the time where the leagues are shaping up, the mini leagues are shaping up. People are actually taking their positions.
Of course, you can't afford a -12 if you're still in an FPL Cup.
And -12 is not far away from anyone. Making 4 changes is a -12.
Yeah.
And you hit 5 and you get a -20. And you don't take it, and the minus will be going. I quite remember there was this game week, okay, and I made a transfer. I had my wild card. But what happened is that when I was doing the transfer, when I got to the stage where I had to press the wild card, I didn't. And I got a -20.
Well, that was probably certainly in your greenhorn days.
Yeah, and
you're new to the game.
Yeah, and that left me, I think I finished somewhere I don't even want to remember. It was terrible. -20 is terrible to you because even -4 can affect you in the mini leagues, can get you a very red arrow downwards. So this is the time that you need to use your wild card when players are picking form, when injury sets in, and also when you know that there's going to be a blank game week. Very, very, very important, because with the blank game weeks, the players who are not going to play, you have the chance to take them all out and bring new players who are going to like be on a streak actually for like 3 game weeks. So when you do these changes, you can, there's this probability that you make any changes again to like another 3 game weeks.
Wouldn't it be better to use your free hits for those blank games? Because you do not want to use your wild card to buy Burnley, Bournemouth, Fulham players. Although they'll be playing that week, you cannot make them up, like make your whole team full of Bournemouth, Fulham players for the rest of the season.
I agree with you.
I think a free hit should be better.
Free hits will do for the blank game weeks. But what happens is that after that, you go back to what? Factory reset. You go back to your original team.
Yeah, and they should be back playing after that.
They should be back. I agree with you. But what if they are injured? What if there is a rotation? What if Pep's relay sets in again? What if Chelsea strikers start scoring goals? What if Hazard decides not to score again and now give assists? Like, do you get where I'm coming from?
But you only have one wild card. And what you are saying is going to happen probably every week in the second round. So when do you think is ideal?
Well, the
best time.
The best time is when the teams are picking form and some players are picking and you need to get them in the team.
You need to get them in the team. Now, let me come to you quickly before we go to our captain picks. Now, you look at the mini leagues and everyone has their aim or their goal or where they want to finish. You know, people want to finish in the top 4. Some of you want to finish up top in your league. Now, do you think it's crucial that you are very chisel and with these chips, that you keep them in, try and close that point, and in your last 3 game weeks, just hit them all to pass. You know, I know people who use this strategy. How effective do you think it is? Or you think that it's always good to use it when you feel like using it? Or you think piling them up at the end, which a lot of you do, is best?
Well, I honestly think stockpiling them is a very shaky decision, because maybe at the end of the season, the players who you think will be informed, the players who think will score you the points, they might be injured, they might be somewhere else out of form, rotated out of the team, and it's very, I'll say, it's very illogical to use it at the pile it up and use it at the end of the season. Because what will happen is that when you have a blank game week, you take minuses to bring players who are playing that game week in. When you have a double game week, you also do the same. You just be accumulating minuses till the end of the season when you use these cards. So I'll say use it strategically and use it when you can. Because I use the combination of the bench boost and the triple captain at the end of the season, last season, because it was a back-to-back double game week. So yeah, I knew when to use it and how to use it. So in both matches, I got 200 points from both matches. So yeah, it was a very good choice.
Very, very strategic indeed. And what we do still pick up is the fact that you need to plan a lot ahead, and you need to know when those double game weeks would, and we know that they would be coming at the end. So if you are targeting a double game week for your triple captainship, which I think is very ideal, then you probably have to be a lot more patient and keep that chip. But we quickly have to go to our captain picks. And Aubameyang at home, it should be a little bit, it's very easy for him, considering that they're playing a Fulham side who they really struggled to keep a clean sheet, although they're under new management, Claudio Ranieri.
Yeah, I back Arsenal to score a lot of goals at home against a Fulham side. I expect Aubameyang to score. I expect Lacazette to help Aubameyang score. So yeah, there'll be a lot of goals in that game.
Well, if you don't have Aubameyang and you do have Lacazette, that is a little bit of assurance for you. But we go to a differential captain pick on the day, and that's Wilson. Now, he plays Watford, and it's at home, so we know that Bournemouth are very comfortable at home and they score a lot of goals. But they're playing a Watford side that also conceded a lot of goals. So Wilson should be a good differential pick.
For me, this time around, I'm not even going to focus on Watford that much. I'm going to focus on Bournemouth and Wilson. What is happening is that for Bournemouth, they have a lot of creative midfielders. You have the Brooks, you have the Frasers, and the amazing thing is that Kane is not selfish in front of goal. He doesn't mind dribbling the keeper and then laying the ball onto Wilson to score. That's the nice thing about Bournemouth. Everyone wants to see someone benefit from their input in the game. They work as a team, and then if anyone at all is going to be in front of goal, confidence to give you the goal, that's going to be Wilson, and that's why I'm going to go for him.
Well, I still stick with you on another differential captain pick, and that's Jimenez. Now, he plays Crystal Palace at home, and Crystal Palace away form has been incredibly poor this season. Yeah.
So earlier on this show, this FPL show, what happened is that we spoke extensively about how Wolves play and how their strikers benefit with their 3-4-3 system, how the wing backs come in to support. When they attack with 5 players. When they are defending, they defend with 6 defenders. What is happening is that when you have a player like Jimenez in front of goal, you give yourself the opportunity to move up your mini leagues. Because if he's not scoring, he's creating. He's that good. He's a very good differential captain. And I wouldn't know why people don't have players like Jimenez and Wilson in their team.
Well, 2 very differential captain picks, and not a lot of people do have them, and even the few that have them are not bold enough to captain them. So if they do bring you some yields, it would be a bold call from Enoch. But let's end with another quote-unquote differential. Now, he's seen a lot of people transfer them into their team. That's Felipe Anderson. He plays Brighton at home, and in the previous weeks, you seem to be consistently backing him. Well, there is something that you see, and you hope he does bring in goals against Brighton.
Yeah, and as you can see, this season Brighton have been stronger at home than away. West Ham will score a lot of goals at home, and it's a perfect combination, especially when Felipe Anderson is in the starting lineup. Yeah, so I back him to score and create a few. And he's also on set play duty, so we do expect a lot of chances for him to get on that scoring sheet. Thank you, gentlemen. You want to share who your New Year captain would be?
Enoch?
Well, I'll have to go for Wilson.
You go for Wilson.
Yeah.
Very bold call from Enoch. Amankwa, who would you be going with?
Arnautovic.
Arnautovic, that's bold, considering the problem that he had with his fitness, and hopefully he does get involved and he's good enough to bring in those points. Special thanks to you at home if you did watch us on the Joy Fantasy Football Show. A happy New Year to you. We came to you live from the Torches Bar in the Kaneshi Sports Complex, and it's going to be a while before you see us because, yeah, we're going on a break and we'll come back in a week and some few days. You know that the Premier League will be resuming on 12th January, but hope to see you soon. But up until then, always remember, Fike Lindo, which basically means stay beautiful.